Chapter 11. I wasn't tired anymore. At top speed I raced back to my friends. I felt sick, felt like my heart was gonna burst. They'd missed the deadline. It was too late. Too late and they'd all be trapped, like me, forever. Morph, I screamed as I closed in. Boss speaks like rare screech. It's hard to hear the further away you are. Morph back now! Maybe the clock in the truck was off. Maybe 5 minutes one way they are wouldn't matter. There, I saw them. 4 wolves moving relentlessly toward a distant city. Morph now, I screamed as I felt like a bullet over their heads. How much time do we have? None! I got them going. I landed exhausted on a branch. Cassie's first week in the change. Her fur was short, her snout flattened into a nose. A long human leg swelled and burst from thin dog legs. Her tail slipped back in and disappeared. She was already more than half human by the time her first change is going to appear on the others. Come on, hurry, I urged him. What time is it? You have about 2 minutes, I said. That was a lie. According to clock, they're already 7 minutes too late. Too late. And yet Cassie has continued to emerge from her wolf body. Skin was replacing fur. Her leotard covered her legs, but the others were not so lucky. Ah! I heard Rachel cry in my mind. Her morph was going all wrong. Her human hands appeared at the end of her wolf legs, but nothing else seemed to be changing. Horrified at Marco. His normal head would emerge with startling suddenness from his wolf body, but the rest of him hadn't changed. He looked down himself and cried in horror. It was an awful sound, half human, half wolf. It was worse than I'd feared. I feared to be trapped as wolves like I was trapped as a hawk, but they emerged as half-human freaks of nature, living nightmares. Cassie ran from one to the next. Come on, Jake, concentrate. Focus, Rach. Focus. Rachel, bear down, girl. Pitch yourself as a human. See yourself looking in the mirror. Fight the fear, Marco. Maybe Marco rolled his human eyes up and stared at me. His gaze locked at me. It was like he hated me. Or feared me. Both, maybe. I didn't move. If Marco needed me to concentrate, that was fine. But it sent a shiver of disgust through me. I suddenly saw myself as they must see me. As something frightening. A freak. An accident. A sickening, pitiable creature. Slowly, Marco began to emerge. The human body appeared. Rachel, too, and Jake. They were winning their battle. That's it, Jake, Cassie urged. She held her hand tight between both of theirs. His hand tight between both of hers. Come on back to me, Jake. Come all the way back. I watched Rachel. She had a small, shrinking tail. Her mouth still protruded. Her blonde hair was still more like gray fur. But she was going to make it. The clock must have been fast. A matter of 5 minutes one way they are to determine their fates. I'm glad they made it. They're all human again. We did it, Jake asked weakly. He leaned his back on the pine needles. We made it. That was close, Rachel said. That was way too close. It was so hard like trying to climb out of a pool of molasses. I'm human again, Marco muttered. Human. Toes, hands, arms, and shoulders. He jumped himself all over. That was close, Cassie exulted. He gave Jake a hug. I guess he felt consciously ran over and hugged Rachel and Marco, too. They're all laughing, all giggling with the relief. We were okay, Jake sighed. I was happy for them. Really. I was. But suddenly I didn't want to be there. Suddenly I desperately didn't want to be there. I felt an awful, gaping black hole open up all around me. I was sick. Sick with the feeling of being trapped. Trapped forever. I looked at my talons. They'd never be feet. I looked at my wing. It'd never be an arm. It'd never again end in a hand. I'd never touch. I'd never touch anything. Anyone. Ever again. I dropped from the branch and opened my wings. Tobias, Jake shouted after me, but I couldn't stay. I flapped like a demon no more caring where I was going. I had to fly. I had to get away. Tobias, no, come back, Rachel cried. I called a blessed breeze and soared up and away, my own silent, voiceless scream echoing in my head. Chapter 12. It was late when I returned to what was now my home. After I was first trapped in my hawk body, Jake had removed an outside panel and lit the attic of his house. I flew in for the opening. It was a typical attic. There were some dusty old cardboard boxes full of Jake and Tom's old baby clothes. There were open boxes of Christmas lights and decorations, a chest of drawers with a top that had been scarred by something or other. Jake had opened one of the drawers and packed away an old blanket. That was nice of him. Jake's a decent guy. In the old days, he would protect me from the punks at school who liked to beat me up. The old days, when I went to school. How long was it now? A few weeks? A month? Not even. There was a rubber-made dish in a corner where no one was likely to see it, and I was hungry. I clutched the dish with my left hand and pried a lid off my hooked beak. Meat and potatoes and green beans. The meat was hamburger. I didn't know how I arranged it. His mom probably thought I was sneaking scraps to his dog, Homer. I hadn't told him yet, but I couldn't eat the vegetables or potatoes. My system just couldn't deal with anything about meat. The hawk, was a predator, and the wild hawks live on rat and squirrel and rabbit. I ate some of the hamburger. It was cold and dead. It made me feel bad for eating it, but it filled me up. But it wasn't dead meat that I wanted. I wanted live meat. I wanted living, breathing, scurrying prey. I wanted to swoop down on it and grab it in my talons and tear into it. That's what I wanted. What the hawk wanted. When it came to food, it's hard to deny the hawk brain in my head. The hunger I felt was the hunger of the hawk. I flopped and hopped over to my drawer. It was soft. But what my hawk body wanted was not the warmth and comfort of the blanket. Hawks make nests of sticks. They spend their nights on a friendly branch feeling the breeze, hearing the nervous chittering of prey, watching the owls hunt. I hopped out of my drawer. I couldn't stay here. I was so tired I was past being able to rest. I was restless. I flew back in at night. Hawks aren't usually nocturnal. The night belongs to other hunters, but I wasn't ready to rest. I flew aimlessly for a while, but I knew in my heart where I was going. Rachel's bedroom light was still on. I fluttered down and landed on a birdhouse she deliberately nailed out there for me to land on when I was over. I rustled my wings softly against the grass and scratched what had one town. Rachel? A moment later, the window slid up. She was there wearing a bathrobe and fuzzy slippers. Hi, I was worried about you. Why, I asked, but I knew the answer. We weren't very sensitive this afternoon, she spoke in a whisper. We couldn't let our mother and her sister here having a one-sided conversation with no one. Don't be silly. You guys barely escaped being, you know. Come inside. I have my bedroom door locked. Hopped in through the window and floated over her dresser. I suddenly realized something was behind me. I turned my head around. It was a mirror. I was looking at myself. I had a reddish tail with long straight feathers. The rest of my back was a mottled dark brown. I had big shoulders that looked kind of hunched, like I was a football lineman ready for a snap. My head was streamlined. Brown eyes were fierce as I stared at a deadly weapon in my beak. I turned my head forward, looking away from my reflection. I don't know what's happening to me, Rachel. What do you mean, Tobias? I wish I could have smiled. She looked so worried. I wish I could have smiled just a little to make her feel better. I think I'm losing myself. What do you mean? She bit her lip and tried to let me see, but of course Hawkeye's missed nothing. Today, the hawk we freed, she was there at the lake. I wanted to go with her. I felt like I belonged with her. You belong with us, Rachel said firmly. You're a human being, Tobias. How can you be so sure? Because what counts in your head and your heart, she said with sudden passion. A person isn't his body. A person isn't what's on the outside. Rachel, I don't even remember what I looked like. I could see she wanted to cry, but Rachel's a person with strength that runs all the way through. Maybe that's why I came to see her. I need someone to be sure. I wanted someone to let me borrow a little of their strength. She went over to her nightstand and opened the drawer. She rummaged for a minute and came back to me. She was holding a small photograph. She turned it so I could see. It was me. The me I used to be. I didn't know you had a picture of me. She nodded. It's not a great one. In real life, you look better. In real life. Tobias, someday the Andalites will return. If they don't, we're all lost, all the human race. But if they come back, I know they'll have a way to return you to your body. I wish I was so sure, I said. I am sure, she said. She put every ounce of faith in those 3 words. She wanted me to believe, but I could see the tears that were threatening well up in her eyes as she lied. Like I said, hawks don't miss much. Chapter 13. Talking to Rachel helped. At least a little. Oh, thank you for the head pats. I spent the night in my little drawer in Jake's attic. I spent the next day flying around waiting for my friends to get out of school. In some ways, I realized my situation wasn't all bad. For one thing, I had no homework, and for another, I could fly. How many kids could hit 40 miles an hour at a level flight and break 80 in a stoop, a dive? I went to the beach and rode the thermals. It was best when the cliffs pressed right up against the blue ocean. I saw some prey, some mice and voles on the top of the cliff, but I ignored them. I was Tobias. I was Tobias a human. Jake had called a meeting for us that evening in his room. Tom, Jake's brother, would be away at a meeting for the sharing. The sharing is a front for the Yeerks. They pretend like it's kind of Boy Scouts or whatever, but it's a real purpose to recruit voluntary hosts. I got in the habit of checking people's watches from the air. Also, you know how banks sometimes have a big sign showing the time and temperature? Those are helpful too. It's strange the things you miss when you lose your human body, like showers, like really sleeping all the way, totally passed out, or like knowing what time it is. In the afternoon I flew back to school. I drifted around overhead till it let out. Then I waited till I saw Jake, Rachel, Cassie, and Margot come out. They came out separately. Margot would point out his bad security for them to all be seen together at one time. I followed the bus of Jake and Rachel inside. They lived closest, a few blocks away from each other. Marco lived in some apartments on the other side of the boulevard. He lived with just his dad, his mama drowned a few years before. Cassie had to travel the furthest out to the farm, which was a mile from the others. For me, it's about a 3-minute flight. Like I say, there are some good things about having wings. I guess really it's okay most of the time. Really. I floated on a nice storm above Jake's house, waiting for him to get home. I saw him get off the bus and go inside. I couldn't see Rachel where I was before because there were trees in the way, but I could see Mark for just a second or two. I concentrated on watching them. That way I didn't notice the squirrels in the trees so much, or the mice that poked their little noses from their holes and sniffed the air. After a while I saw Tom leave Jake's house. He looks just like Jake, a little bit bigger and has shorter hair. I've never known him too well, but it was during a doomed attempt to rescue him that I was trapped. He headed down the street acting nonchalant. Then a block away a car pulled up and opened a door and he jumped in. Off to his meeting at the sharing. After a while, I saw the other started to head to Jake's house. I could identify Rachel easily. She was practicing for her gymnastics as she walked. She walked on the edge of curves, saying there were balance beams. I flew in Jake's window once everyone was there. I didn't want to look like I was hanging around all the time with nothing to do. About time, Marco said. We'd all been waiting for like an hour. They've been there for 2 minutes. I'm a busy bird, I said. I lost track of times. We better make this kind of quick, Cassie said. Miss Lambert gave us papers right by the day after tomorrow, and I promised my dad to help him release his great horned owl. He was a mess. He landed on a power line, got fried, but he's ready to go now. We have a habitat picked out. Friend of yours, Tobias? Marco teased me. The air shot him looks, but the truth was it feel okay to be teased. He teased everyone. We hawks don't hang along with owls. They do nights, we mostly do days. He's a beautiful animal, Cassie said. I see them sometimes at night, I said. They're amazing, so cool and silent. Their wings don't make a sound. They could fly an inch in front of your face and you wouldn't hear it. Okay, look, if Cassius be going, maybe we better deal with business, Jake said. Yeah, if you two would done the bird talk part of the meeting. I have to get going soon too, Rachel said. She looked a little embarrassed. My gymnastics class is putting on an exhibition at the mall. Oh, I'm there, Marco crowed. No, you're not there. None of you are going near that place. You know how I feel about having you put on stupid exhibitions. Rachel's not one of those people who can perform in front of a crowd. We had learned how the Yerks get their air and water, Jake said, and we didn't even know where they do it. We more or less know when. There ought to be some way for us to use this. Any ideas? Rachel shrugged. We try to find a way to destroy the ship. Marco raised his hand. How about we go back to talking about birds? Rachel ignored him like she usually does. Look, we have to find some way to destroy them. Maybe the Yerks will run out of air and water. Maybe they'll even have to give up and go home. Maybe, Cassie said, or maybe they have a dozen more ships in different places all over the Earth. We don't even know how many ships there are. This one would be all we need if... He began to say, then he realized he better suggest something dangerous. I mean, nothing. What, he asked him. What are you going to say? He looked trapped and shrugged. Okay, look, what if the ship didn't get blown up or disintegrated or whatever? What if it was just flying over the city and suddenly the cloaking device was turned off? We all silently thought about that. Suddenly millions of people would look up in the sky and see the ship the size of a skyscraper. People probably noticed it. Oh yeah, they'd notice, Rachel agreed, and radar would see it too. 1 million eyewitnesses. Controllers would never be able to cover it up. People would videotape it, I said. They'd take pictures. There'd be radar tapes. Jake grinned. The whole world would see it. The entire human race would realize what was happening. He was getting sight, and then we can go to the authorities. The controllers won't be able to stop us. We could tell them all we know. Rachel's eyes are gleaming. We could tell them about the sharing. We could turn in Chapman. And you figure Rise of Free's pals gonna sit around and do nothing, Marco said? Like you said, we have no idea how many ships there are or how much power. Jake looked a little disappointed. They don't have enough power to attack Earth directly, I said. And how do you know that? Because they're going to a lot of trouble keeping themselves a big secret. You don't hide if you're told to come out and kick butt in a fair fight. I expected Marco to have some sort of smart comeback, but he just nodded. Yeah, you're right. This could be our big chance, Rachel said. Uncloak that ship so the whole world can see. I hate to ask this, Marco said with a groan, but how do you think you're going to do that? It was Jake who answered. We have to get inside that ship. He winked at Marco. Wanna know how? He shook his head. Not really. Through the water pipes. As fish. Marco sighed. Jake, I just told you I don't want to know. Chapter 14. Rachel and Cassie took off, heading in different directions. Have a good show, Cassie called to Rachel. Yeah, right, Rachel said grumpily. I'll be there soon, Marco told Rachel. Don't fall off any balance beams till I get there. Rachel shot Marco one of those, you're a dead man if you mess with me looks and disappeared, leaving just Marco, Jake, and me. She really kind of likes me, Marco said with a wink at Jake and me. Uh-huh. Look, Tobias, we're going to do this mission. It can't be till the weekend. Why? The timing. We have to morph to travel. There are no buses. We can't walk that far in human bodies. Even as wolves, it takes time. It took more than an hour before. It just seemed to me we might want to get there in the morning, camp out somewhere hidden, and be ready by afternoon when the Yerks show up. Travel around their Wolfpack's territory, Marco pointed out. I don't want to get into it with them again. It made sense. I guess you're right. We're going to camp early in the day. You need a Saturday. Anyway, it might be good if we have as much information about the area as we can get. He gave me a thoughtful look. So I was thinking, yeah, I'll spy out the situation. I'll look for somewhere you can hide. I have a lot of time on my hands. No hands exactly, but lots of time. They both laughed. I think Marco was surprised I could make a joke about myself. I saw an intense look in Jake's eyes. He was wondering if I was okay. I'm cool, I thought, spoke privately to him, so Marco went here. I'm just a little weirded out by watching you all struggle with those wolf morphs. He raised an eyebrow and nodded. He'd been upset too, I could imagine. I suspected there's a lot of nightmares over that mess. Okay, so now what? Do I sneak in the mall that Rachel will see me, or do we all sit around and play Doom? Oh yeah, I have homework, Jake said, and trusting Marco, if Rachel sees you at the mall making a face while she's in a balance beam, she'll turn into an elephant and stomp you. And Marco winced. Remember the good old days and all a girl could do was call you names? I flew up to play video games or homework or wherever they killed at time. Either way, it wasn't something I could participate in. It's kind of a shame, really. With my eyesight and reaction time I have, I could probably be major competition in Doomed. But joystick and control pads aren't made for talons. Weirdly, I did give that some thought, actually. An actual control knob like you see in an arcade game would work perfectly with his talons, I think, if he had something to actually rest on with his other foot. Like maybe one of them could have like a little knob for him to put one foot on, the other one he could control the stick with like his other talons. So that could hypothetically work. The buttons would be an issue, but I think there may be some sort of setup that could work there. Just an interesting thought. Anyway, I swooped out in the cool afternoon. I drifted around for a while, checked out Chapman's house. He's our assistant principal. He is also one of the highest ranking controllers. When he first learned he was one of them, he was ordering a Harbinger to kill any of us he caught. He told the Harbinger to save our heads for identification. Not the kind of thing you expect to hear, even from an assistant principal. But it turned out things are more complicated than we thought. Chapman had joined the Yerks, but he done to save his daughter Melissa. Melissa be at the gymnastics thing when Rachel, at the mall. Remembering the mall made me sad. It was just another place I couldn't go anymore. A long list: school, movie theaters, amusement parks. Wait a minute. I could go to the amusement park. And I wouldn't even have to pay admission. The thought made me happy. I don't know why. It wouldn't look like I could ride a roller coaster, but still the idea perked me up a little. I could bust right into the gardens anytime I wanted. Come on, I could also watch any football or baseball game I wanted to, as long as it was outdoors. And concerts. Whoa, big stadium concerts? No problem. No tickets needed. That's the way of thinking I needed. There are millions of things I could do as a bird I couldn't do as a human, but not right now. I turned head toward the mountains. I had a job to do. That's another good thing about being me. I was the ultimate airborne spy. There's a long line of towering clouds running the mountains. Perfect weather for me. Thermals are what pushed those clouds up so high. I could also get into it. No bad life. Not really. I was flying. Back onto my old body, I used to look up at the sky and wish I could fly. And now I could. I figure there's probably some kids on the ground right now looking at me and thinking, wow, that'd be so cool. If only I had something to eat. I was getting a little hungry. Maybe I should have asked Jane to grab me a snack. It happened before I really had time to think about it. I guess it was because I was feeling so good. Feeling relaxed. I was above the woods about half a mile behind Cassie's farm. The trees open to form a little meadow. That's what redtails love. A little meadow. Little happy meadow. It was full of happy little prey. Squirrels were scurrying at the ground for nuts, hopping and sitting up their hind legs to look around nervously. Mice had scurried from hole to hole. Rabbits. A rat. My eyes focused on it with absolute intensity. I saw her shrug one shoulder, turn sharply in midair, and plummet toward the earth in a stoop. My wings were back, my head was low, my talons tucked back for maximum speed. A sudden flare opened my wings on the shock of the air. The talons raked forward, eyes are moving even a millimeter from that rat. Focus, and I struck. An incredible rush of excitement went through me. I was ecstatic. Ecstatic, that's the only word for it. It was intense beyond anything I ever experienced. Talons hit warm flesh. My razor claws squeezed. The rat squirmed in my grip, but it was helpless. Helpless. I was in a frenzy. I hooded my wings or my kills, shooting for me or a predator might try to steal it away. No, 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 no! I fell back. I looked down at my talons. They were red with blood. Rat meat dripped from my beak. In my panic, I forgot what I was. I tried to run away, but I no longer had legs and feet to run with. I had killing talons. Bloody talons. I fell in the dirt. No, I cried helplessly. Voicelessly, I could still see the dead rat. I could taste it. And no matter how many times I said no, it would always be yes. Chapter 15. I flew. I flew as fast and hard as I could. I wanted to go so fast the memory of killing and eating the rat would be left away behind me, but not even I can fly that fast. Human. I'm human. I'm Tobias. I know why it was Rachel I wanted to see right then. Maybe she's the closest thing I could find to a real friend. Maybe it's why she seemed so sure of who and what I was. I needed someone to be sure for me. Down below I could see a huge irregular rectangles of the mall. I saw a glass door, people streaming in and out. Rachel, that's where she was. I screamed in rage and frustration and terror as I stooped. I shot through the door like I shot toward that rat. But I wasn't going to stop. I wasn't going to slow down. I was just going to end this right now. I hit the glass at full speed and it awakened me from this nightmare. The speed kept building. The door rushed up to me. The earth itself was jumping up to hit me. A guy, dark hair, short, stepped to the door and he opened it. Swoop! I must have been doing 80 as I hurled for the open door. A second set of doors, but these are open too. No impact. No awakening. The colors and bright lights all around me like a high-speed kaleidoscope. The Gap, Express, Body Shop, Easy Spirit, Mrs. Fields. Zoom! I was a bullet blazing inches over the heads of the shoppers. I had screams, cries of amazement. I didn't care. I wanted to hit something. I wanted to wake up. I wanted to fall to the ground because my wings had disappeared and replaced by clumsy legs and flailing arms. I wanted to be me again. I'm human. Human. Tobias. 9 West, Radio Shack, B. Dalton. Benetton? Not heard of that one. A world I knew, a world I belonged, places I'd seen, foods I'd eaten, a world of human beings. Zoom. Suddenly in seconds I was at the center of the mall. A crowd was standing around a circle. In the middle of the circle, blue mats are on the floor. Girls in leotards doing mid-air flips and graceful backbends. People on the upper level crowd around the railing to look down. Rachel's on the balance beam. She was raising one leg, bouncing on the other. I was a brown, gold, and red missile shooting past her. Tobias, she cried. Straight ahead, I had a wall. A blank wall where they put up a new shop. I was still moving fast. I could still hit it and wake myself up from this nightmare. No, she cried. I flared and shot straight up instead. The wall scraped my stomach. The ceiling was glass, a skylight. I was there. The last second turn, I was too late. My shoulder hit glass. I bounced off against a fall toward the upraised faces, staring at me with horror and amazement and pity. I saw Rachel's face in that crowd. Her eyes pleaded silently. No, she mouthed. No. I fell, stunned and dazed. Rachel, still bouncing on a beam, caught me as I dropped. She fell off and the two of us tumbled on the mat. You have to get out of here, she murmured tersely. I killed, I cried. You understand, Rachel? I'm lost. I killed. No, as long as you have me in the air, you aren't lost, Tobias. Helping hands were clawing, trying to save Rachel from a crazed, out-of-control bird. She gave me a little heave, just enough to get me in the air. Anyone who was watching would have thought she was trying to get me off her. I flapped up just out of Rachel, a dozen hands that clawed in the air trying to grab me. Someone threw a shopping bag at me and I dodged, but there was no escape. Overhead I saw a skylight, blue sky. The hawk in my head wanted the sky. It knew safety was up in the high blue. The hawk powered straight up, straight at the glass they didn't understand. The glass to be like a brick wall. But I couldn't fight anymore. The hawk had won. I killed and eaten, and I loved it. The ecstasy of the hunt. Ecstasy. In a second it'd all be over. One more stroke of my powerful wings in the glass. Out of the corner of my eye I saw a familiar face at upper level. Suddenly something shot past me, a small, white, stitched thing. Crash! The baseball hit the glass just inches over my beak, just where Marco had aimed it. Glass shards fell around me, and I shot for the hole. Sky! The hawk flew past and straight, and I let it go. I surrendered. Tobias, a boy whose face I could no longer remember, no longer existed. Let's see, chapter 16. The next few days are a long slow dream. I stayed away from Jake's house. I didn't communicate with my friends. I disappeared. I found a place for myself, perfect red-tailed territory, the place where I made my first kill. A nice meadow surrounded by trees. Not far off there was a marshy area that was good too, although there was another red-tail that had territory there, so I couldn't hunt there often. I spent my days hunting. Sometimes I'd ride the high, hot winds and watch the meadow. Sometimes I'd sit in a tree and watch till some unwary creature ventured out. Then I'd swoop down on top of it, snatch it up and kill it. Eat it while the blood was still warm. Days were easier than nights. During the day I was hunting most of the time. It keeps you busy because most of the time you miss. It can take a few tries before you make a kill. Nights are worse. I couldn't hunt at night. The night belongs to our predators, mostly owls. At night, my human mind would resurface. The human in my head would show me memories, pictures of human life, pictures of his friends. The human in my head was sad, lonely. But the human Tobias really just wanted to sleep. He wanted to disappear and let the hawk rule. He wanted to accept that he wasn't human anymore. Still at night, as I sat on my familiar branch and watched the owls do their silent work, the human memories of play, but our memories there too. I remembered the female hawk, the one who'd been in the cage. I knew where her territory was, near a clear lake in the mountains. So one day I flew there, to the mountain lake. I saw her sit down on a tree branch. She was watching a baby raccoon. No! No, baby raccoon, no! Preparing to go for the kill. She'd have to be very hungry to go for a raccoon, no matter how small. Raccoons are very tough, very violent creatures. Damn right they are. You better not hurt that raccoon. As I watched unnoticed by her, she swooped. The raccoon spotted her. A quick dodge left and the hawk sailed harmlessly past. The baby raccoon ran for the edge of the woods. Her mother was there. Good. Good. No hawk was crazy enough to go after a full-grown raccoon. That was not a fight the hawk was going to win. Raccoon beats hawk. She settled back on her branch. I floated overhead waiting to see if she'd spot me. And waiting to see what she'd do when she did notice me. I had to be cautious. She was a female, and females are a third bigger on average than males, and suddenly I saw fast movement in the woods. A chase. It was always kind of exciting to watch a kill, even by another species. It heightened my hunting edge. The prey was running awkwardly on two legs, running and threading its way for the underbrush. Its stone hit the ground hard. It seemed very slow to get up. It ran again. I could hear gasping breath. It was weakening. The prey was squealing, loud, yelping vocalizations. Prey often squeals. The predator was moving on two legs too, but these were built for greater speeds. It had blades growing from its arms. It used blades to slash the bushes and weeds. It cleared its way like a lawnmower chopping down tall grass. Lawnmower? No. Something else. Salad shooter, that's what Marco called him. Marco? The image came to my mind. Short hair, dark hair, human. It hit me like a lightning bolt, and suddenly I realized this prey was human. Why should I care? It was prey. That's the way it worked. Predator killed prey. No, it was a human being. Help! Help! That was the vocalization. It meant something. Help me! Help me! The predator is getting close. In a few seconds to have his kill. The predator is powerful and swift. Heart Bajur. Help me! Someone help! I don't know how to describe what happened next. It was like my whole world flipped over. Like 1 minute was one thing, and then suddenly it was something totally different, like opening your eyes after a dream. The prey was a human being, and the predator's Heart Bajur. This was wrong. It had to be stopped. A few seconds earlier, I was thinking of something a no-sane hawk would go after a full-grown raccoon. Now it's going after a Heart Bajur. Heart Bajur compared to a raccoon is like a nuclear bomb compared to a bow and arrow. It would have to be the eyes. That was the only weak spot. I rocketed toward the Heart Bajur. The human slipped and fell again. Talons forward, the Heart Bajur slowly focused on the prey. I hit him fast and hard and sailed past. The Heart Bajur yelled and clutched at his eyes. The human was up and running. Flash to me, getting away. Hush-run! He yelled in a strange combination of human and alien species and working with humans. He was calling for help. I used my momentum to soar over the tops of the trees. He had plenty of help available. Another Heart Bajur 1,000 yards off, and 2 of the bogus park rangers was near. It was all coming back to me. The fake park rangers, the Heart Bajur enforcers. This was the lake. A Yeerk supply ship must be on its way in. Yeerks. Andalites. My friends, the Animorphs. Yes, my friends. I remember now, but this human wasn't one of them. He was older, a stranger. The Freed Hawk was watching me. I could almost feel her drawing me toward her like a magnet. She was my kind. She was like me. But the park rangers were in hot pursuit of the human now. The human was nothing like me, a poor, clumsy ground runner that he was. He was just prey. But for some reason, I couldn't let him be prey. I couldn't. Me. Tobias. I find this chapter very interesting personally. I feel like he's sort of submerged in the Hawk consciousness, and now the Hawk consciousness is sort of using his human intellect for its own ends. Like it figured out that, oh, there's another Hawk over here, something an actual Hawk wouldn't remember, but it does remember that she's there, and it thinks she'd be a great mate, so I go over there. So basically it's using human intelligence, at least to a degree, to figure out how to do Hawk things. And all of a sudden he suddenly remembers, oh yeah, I'm not a Hawk, so yeah.